Hey, good day guys. So today we're going to talk about Fightland. So Fightland is a game going to be based on the Wax blockchain, and this is an MMA inspired card game, which, looking at the design on the background, it looks really cool because it makes you feel like this is a very rough neighborhood that you're going to get into. The fight's going to be brutal and so on. And if you look at it, it kind of reminds you a bit of Darkest Dungeon. If you're familiar with that game, it kind of gives the same feeling. Like there's darkness, there's danger, there's something that you need to put at stake for your life. It looks pretty cool. I like the design. If you look at the website, all of the artwork here looks really awesome. And you have the heroes, you have the characters here, the wrestlers, the fighters. They look really cool, really loving it, and they have these kinds of design. Kudos to the artists of this game. I really love the concept that they did for the artwork. So before we get into the white paper and look into the details of the game, let's look first at the team who actually created the game. So this is the team that worked on the game. So we have animator Bob, illustrator Ed, Dev Den, Devil, illustrator Lala, and writer Shin. Now I would say these are, I guess, not exactly doxed because those are fake names and the descriptions here doesn't really help us, right? But the good thing about this one is that we do know who the developer is, the senior software engineer, which is Icaro. So if you're not familiar with Icaro, he has actually a YouTube channel and he does review quite a lot of play touring games, and he's been doing this for quite some time already. And I've heard about this game like months ago. He already mentioned it that he has been working on this game, and it's really nice to see that they have actually made a lot of progress for the game, which is pretty cool. That gave me a lot of confidence in the game. So even if the team is not exactly doxed, at least we have Icaro to vouch for. And yeah, so let's look into the white paper. So the first question, of course, is what do you need to play the game? Now the good thing about this Fightland is that the team has already set up very good YouTube videos that would actually help you understand what are the requirements for the game, how do you play the game, and what are the tokens, what are the scholarship process, and so on. Very detailed information. If you actually just watch them, it'll really help you understand the game much better. So for me here, of course, my purpose here is just to share information. So what I'm going to do is just go through the white paper and talk about the requirements of the game. So first off, what do I need to play? Of course, you need a fighter NFT, and you need a Fightanium token and Fight Cred token. Now fighter NFT allows you to stake, and you'll be able to acquire Fightanium token from that stake. Now of course, depending on the rarity of the fighter, and also if you have a promoter to go along with the fighter, then you will have higher rate of Fightanium token that you can acquire. Now Fightanium token, the purpose of it is either you can trade it in Alcor, or you can use that to trade for Fight Cred token. Now depending on the value of Fight Cred token, so we don't really know exactly how much you need to trade Fightanium for Fight Cred token. But one thing we do know is that one Fight Cred token will allow you to do one match play. So next we talk about fighters. So fighters, we have different types of fighters. So they already have the version 1 fighters out, and they also have some collab fighters as well. So collab fighters are, produce different tokens compared to V1 fighters. Here they mentioned that you can earn fight grade token for V1 fighters. Then for collab fighters, you will be able to get combat tokens. So later we'll talk about these two tokens once we get through this section. So next we have V2 fighters. They will be available in their second pack sale, which is going to be in mid-January. So you still have time to maybe try and get into it. I don't know if they already have the whitelist going this December, so I would suggest to go to their Discord channel and try to check it out. Now again, rarity, of course, you have different types of rarities. You have common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary, mythic, and of course immortal, which is like the best of the best. And they mentioned here that you can only earn this, so it's not something you can just buy, so you need to earn the title. Now weight class, they have different types of weight class. From my understanding, this will affect the speed of the character, which will allow you to attack first or something like that. Then they also have the martial arts specialty, so they have the kick, punch, and grapple. So the easiest way to explain the card game would be the concept of rock, paper, scissors. So you will have these 3 types of attacks available. Now depending on the specialty of your character, of your fighter, then that will be the stronger cards that they might have during the game. So if let's say if you have a kickboxer, Muay Thai, and Taekwondo, you have a character that will have probably strong kick cards. Then for punch, of course, you have boxers, Krav Maga, and Kyokushin Karate. Then for grapple, you have wrestler, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Sambo. Now for promoters, so this is where you can actually earn more Fightanium tokens. So if you have a promoter contracted to your NFT fighter, then you will get more tokens than compared to just having your regular fighter. Now there are also V1 promoters and collab promoters, so similar to fighters, same idea, they have different rarities as well. So next, let's look into game info. So again, as I mentioned, whenever you do a fight, so they call this as inspired by the Dutch game called Topen. They have kick, punch, and grapple. Then the objective is to win the last move. So there will be 3 moves per round, and whoever wins the last move wins the round, and they will have 3 to 5 rounds per match. Right, so every fight you will have 15 cards in your deck, and the diamonds will represent the power of the card. Then you will get random 3 cards at the initial start of the game. Then you will do a coin toss to whoever will start first. Now they have additional information here where honestly I'm not exactly quite clear on how these work. So they have weight class and rarities for those weight classes, and the ranking of each fighter. So they have certain values that would impact the game. Then of course specialty that would add value to their martial arts. They will have advantage for the punch, kick, and grapple. So here are the game rules. So I think this actually explained it very clearly on how this works. So if you are a defender, so basically grapple will defend against kick, your punch will defend against grapple, then your kick defends against punch. So the concept here is just, again, it's just rock, paper, and scissors. So it's pretty straightforward. Then lastly, I think this is the most important part. So they have what they call a cooldown period. We don't know how long the cooldown period is. So every after match, the greater the rarities will have longer cooldown periods. So fighters will also have a chance of being injured, which would extend the cooldown period. So I guess that is the control on, you know, from keeping players spamming the fighters in the game. So I guess this is a good control. So next we're going to talk about the tokens. So they have 5 tokens: Fightanium, Fight Cred, Fight Rate, Combat, and Fight Coin. So we're just going to go through this briefly so we don't take too much time in the video. So for Fightanium, you can acquire this by staking your NFTs. If you have a promoter and NFT fighter contracted together, then you will generate more yield in terms of Fightanium tokens. So in here they will have the calculation on how much Fightanium token you can get on a per day basis, so you can look into this one depending on rarity. Then you also have the calculation rate for those fighters that are not contracted with promoters. Now for fight credit, as I mentioned, fight credit is mainly used to do fights or matches in a day. So 1 fight credit will equals to 1 match. So next is fight grade tokens. So you can earn these when you win matches. Now in terms of number of tokens, here it's mentioned that depending on the rarity, you will get a corresponding fight grade token. So amateur gets 1, up and comer gets 2, gatekeeper gets 4, and so on and so forth. So the higher the rarity, the better tokens that you get, the better amount of tokens. Then you also take note that you can use the fight grade tokens to create upgrade cards. Now what do we do with upgrade cards? You can actually use these cards to upgrade the rarity of your fighters. So you have, let's say, an amateur fighter, you need 4 cards of amateur fighter of the same fighter, then you put an upgrade card, then you can turn them into an up and comer, and so on and so forth, which is cool. At least you're not stuck with your card that's going to be an amateur forever, so you can turn them into a better fighter. But of course you have to take note that if you have a better fighter, you use them in a match, they have longer cooldown, so they have their pros and cons. But at the end of the day, I think we still want to have those higher rarity cards, right? Also take note that the upgrade card, you can actually sell this in Atomic Hub as well, and also for the token you can purchase it in Icaro as well. So next, combat tokens are going to be only acquired if you have the collab fighters. So if you win the collab fighters, if you win with a collab fighter, then you will get collab tokens. Then same amount of tokens that you can earn. Then you can use these tokens to help supplement the recruit a fighter feature. So meaning supplementation, meaning that you get a higher percentage chance of a certain rarity, but that's all it does. All right, it's kind of like a bonus token that can help you get better fighters when you're recruiting. So lastly, fight coin. So you can earn fight coin when you win every 10 matches, and you can use these fight coin tokens to actually recruit fighters in the game. Then now let's look at recruiting a fighter. So when you recruit a fighter, you will need, of course, fight coin tokens, and you will need a promoter to have the eligibility to actually recruit a character. Now take note that when you do this, it's going to take 24 hours, meaning that including your promoter, he's also going to be locked up for 24 hours. So you can't use a promoter for anything else apart from this particular activity. Then of course, depending on the rarity, depending on the odds, then you will see the calculation here. They also have the fight coin requirement tokens. Now depending on the rarity of your promoter, of course, the higher the rarity of your promoter, the more fight coin tokens you will need to use in order to lure or recruit a fighter. The reason I think why the cost is higher here is, of course, the higher the rarity, then you have better actually chances of getting higher rarity fighters as well. Then here they also mentioned about combat tokens. As I mentioned earlier, here the purpose of the combat tokens is to actually give you better odds of getting better rarity cards for your fighters. Now next we're going to talk about scholarships. So I think this is a very big thing for the game. You can actually join in the whitelist, which is currently ongoing for the scholarships. I already joined myself, so you can just apply for that. Then we'll see if you can get shortlisted. Then hopefully it pans out from there. So how to qualify: users who own at least 5 promoters and 50 fighters can unlock the scholarship program and become a manager. So if you want to become a manager, this is the least thing that you need to have in your set. Then what does it cost to unlock scholarships? So you need to have 10 fight coins per scholarship, but this is not the final amount, but it's a one-time cost that they plan to do, so you can unlock this feature. Then of course, what is the scholarship program? Again, this is basic information to most people who are already familiar with Axie and other games that actually do scholarships as well. So you will have managers, so people who actually owns cards that they will allow people to use. Now the managers have the option to actually highlight what exactly they want to provide in terms of rewards. So they can add in a share percentage of what is collected by the scholarship or by the person who is under the scholarship. They can do 50-50, like 60-40, depending on the manager's proposal. Then the manager can also provide either an NFT prize or other wax tokens as part of the prize or as the prize itself. So they have that flexibility, which is pretty cool. Now the minimum requirement is that for every scholarship, you will have at least 30 fighters. And of course, by default, you need to also deposit 30 fight creds as a manager for your scholars. Since you will be giving them 30 fighters, then they will need 30 fight creds because you need 1 fight creds per match, right? So you have 30 fighters, 30 matches, then that's the requirement. They also have a feature what they call as putting a specific percentage requirement for the scholars to actually meet. Like, let's say for example, if me as a manager, I want you to always win at a percentage of maybe 80% or more, then that's the only time that you will be rewarded for the scholarship program. So you can actually put that kind of requirement. Now next, of course, as I mentioned already, become a scholar. So they have a scholarship program going on right now. You can apply for the whitelist. It's still open. You just make sure you verify your Wax wallet address in their Discord channel as well. Then we'll wait for the shortlist to happen. Then we'll go into the play to earn aspect. So as I mentioned earlier, ways to earn is basically earning these tokens. All of these fight tokens will actually give you the ability to convert them via Icaro, which technically earns you money. So really up to you how you want to play the game. I mean, each of the tokens will have their use cases, but up to you if you want to use them for that particular purpose, or you can just exchange them so you can earn from the game. So now let's get into the roadmap. So they've already gone through the Q3, Q4 roadmap. The only thing missing from Q4 is the whitelisting for second pack sale. I don't know if this is already ongoing. I haven't really gone through the Discord channel, so I recommend that you go into their Discord and try to check so you can try and participate the whitelist program. Then on Q1 2022, this is where the second pack sale will happen, which is targeted to mid to late January. Then of course, further improvements on their game, which is the front end, back end blockchain development continues. Then the staking will happen for Fightanium tokens, which starts in January. Then on February, they'll have the closed alpha training camp testing. Then they'll have the closed alpha PvE testing on March. Then they will also have land sale with recruit to a promoter to be determined. So I guess this is something that we might be So I would assume this is something that might not be part of the Q1. So probably they're going to do this in Q2 or maybe after the game launches. And that's about it with regards to Fightland. So let's do a quick recap. So what are the few things I'm looking for in a game, right? So number one is the team docs. Well, for this case, let's just say it's semi-docs because we know Icaro. And I'm vouching for Icaro because, you know, I mean, he's always been transparent in his videos, so I like him as a YouTuber. In terms of community, I think this is where they still need to work on. Right, like now they only have like 2,000 followers. Then on Discord channel they also have almost the same value as well, which is very low. I'm hoping that they can start building up their marketing to also help promote the game moving forward. So we'll see how the community goes moving forward. Of course, partnerships, I don't think they have one at the moment, so hopefully they do have investors moving forward as well, because that would give a lot of boost for the game. So right now the game still needs a lot of work in terms of marketing itself, but once they manage to get that traction going, then I think this game will have a lot of potential. And the design wise, as I mentioned earlier, I really love the artwork, so hopefully they can just promote the game, and hopefully we see it become one of the better games out there in the Wax blockchain. And with that, guys, that ends my video today. So if you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions that you want me to look into, just leave a comment down the video and I'll try and see if I can make a review for the game. And thank you for watching the video. Hope to see you again in my future videos. Stay safe, people.